Work today stems from the Industrial Revolution 300 years ago. That's when we were the machines, we were the robots. It was all about presenteeism. We worked on the production line. We were measured by speed and efficiency. It was about how much work you could get done in one day. Let's be honest, it was about making your boss richer. And in that time, we had these measures of success: economic growth and productivity. Well, it's 300 years later, and it's simply not working. Productivity growth has stagnated. Australia is one of the worst performing countries in terms of longer working hours. Less than 1 in 10 people feel free to innovate or experiment in work. And a measly 20% are actually highly engaged in their work. And this idea of productivity that governments and businesses speak about all the time, it measures $10 million invested in a hospital, the same as $10 million spent on a coal-fired power plant. And our most precious resource, the planet, is dying. And we have no planet B. So we're not happy at work, and we're not productive. And oddly, in the time of the pandemic, when we're touting mental health and wellness and the importance of people, studies show we've actually extended the average working day by 40 minutes since March this year, all in the pursuit of productivity. And I think it's because we first thought that COVID was a fleeting moment. You see, COVID's like a snowstorm. After years of what seemed like endless sunshine outside, we looked out and we saw snow. So we did the right thing. We closed the windows and doors, and we stayed inside. But a few weeks later, we looked out, and it was still snowing. And we're like, it's not a snowstorm, it's winter. So we did the right thing. We went online, bought a new jumper, jacket, and a scarf. But by the time they were delivered to our door, we realized it wasn't winter. It was the Ice Age. What was the moment when you realized that this was the Ice Age? Think about it. That moment when you sat there and thought, it's kind of not an 8-week thing anymore, this is it. It's been here for a while. In fact, maybe it's here forever. And how did that moment of realization make you feel about work? Something that you spend about 1/3 of your time doing, by the way. I can tell you how it made 5,000 people feel across Australia, the US, Japan, France, and Germany in a recent study commissioned by Atlassian. Despite the fact that people weren't commuting to work and therefore saving that time, nearly half of respondents said they had less time for personal pursuits. Personal pursuits, the things that actually make you happy. And the number one complaint at this time? Work-life balance. Me personally, I've put on 5 kilos since March. I'm drinking more and I'm sleeping less. That's COVID's fault, right? Or is it simply that I'm just not happy? That in my relentless pursuit of productivity, I've lost sight of what's really important? Now, we could spend the rest of this talk sharing stories about how unhappy we are, or we can actually flip the tables and talk about what we can do. I'm choosing to do the latter. I'd like you to close your eyes for a second. I want you to imagine a world where our measure of success is not productivity. I want you to imagine a world where instead of thinking about busyness and titles and bank balances, we think about our impact on the world. I want you to imagine a world where status isn't the reason for our existence. Open your eyes. I'd now like to introduce you to the personal moral inventory. The personal moral inventory is inspired by 2 pieces of work. The first, the work from the world of finance on something called the quadruple bottom line, aimed at getting businesses to report in a more rounded fashion. The second, an exercise that elite military personnel go through to self-assess themselves and their teammates before going into battle. I believe that these 4 things, productivity and profit, people, the planet, and our purpose, are the secret to our happiness.